I'm just gonna have an ice cream sandwich. Hey, Jackie. Hi. Oh, man. I just got another 7-day ban. I appealed the live, but banned for 7 days. Can't go live for 7 days. Every violation I'm getting is awarding me not a 2-hour, not a 24-hour violation, 7 days at a time. And I was taken down for hate speech. I don't know. Jackie, the only thing I was going to tell you is that you need to go talk to Oshun. Oshun came through for you in your reading. So that's why I was going to tell you that you need to take some oranges, some cinnamon, some honey. Make sure you taste the honey first and sit by the river or sit by the lake and talk to Oshun. Hey, Vids. That's all. That's all I wanted to tell you. I wasn't going to get all into that on live because people wouldn't understand what was going on. Man, I'm so mad. I am mad, but that madness is like pushed down really, really deep inside. I got taken down for hate speech. I said nothing hateful at all. I don't think anything I said was hateful. Was I hateful? Did I sound hateful to you? You know what I think it is? After my live got shut down, and after I posted a video on TikTok telling everybody where I was going to be, when I went to pee, I was thinking it has to do with my communication style. It has to. Maybe it's because of how much I curse. Maybe AI is confusing what I say because I'm using the wrong words in the same sentence. Yeah, but AI doesn't have the ability to distinguish that. Anyway, it is what it is. Shit talk. Tonight, I have to do a Zoom call with all these stupid ass people. Not you. Acupuncture people. I'm self-soothing. I'm emotionally eating right now. I don't need this ice cream sandwich. Way Zen, what's happening? Where you been, girl? You've been like AWOL on me. What are you up to? We've been missing you. TikTok took my live down for hate speech. They said I was talking hateful again. I'm gonna sit down in my chair. I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't even saying anything. I was talking about, I don't even know what I was talking about, but it wasn't hateful. I was talking about, like how gay people exist in nature and how people should not be homophobic. I was preaching against homophobia and I got taken down for hate speech. Excuse me. I was literally preaching against homophobia. Literally preaching against homophobia and transphobia and got taken down for hate speech. How is that possible? I'm in my comfy chair, in my wide-ass chair. This is really comfortable. I think I should go live from here. Ooh. Yeah, this is really super comfortable. I got a message from you, Lauren. I haven't looked at it yet. Do you like this? There's a massage table. There she is, back there. This might Ifa and Oshun. What's up, Queen? Oh my God. Oh my God. I need to look up those trigger words. Okay. My place is tiny. I have a 1-bedroom, but it's tiny. What's up, Robin? I literally need something to wipe my face and blow my nose. They took me down for hate speech. They said I was talking hateful. Yeah, it's a big problem for me. And I don't know whether or not people are flagging me or whether or not it's the AI. Of course, anytime I say, here's the thing. I tell people the truth. I tell people the truth. I tell them honestly about how I feel. And if that offends somebody, if the negativity offends someone who's in it, like as an example, let me give you an example. If I say that Catholicism, let's just use Catholicism as an example. If I say Catholicism is a political organization, or if I say just because we've got one liberal pope that feels like gay people should be able to take communion, but that does not excuse the fact that the Roman Catholic Church over a period of 1,500 years systematically dismantled all the other indigenous spiritualities and governments that existed on Earth in a violent way and sanctioned some of the most horrendous and awful wars and the transatlantic slave trade. That's not a lie. That's historical fact. But if you're a Catholic and you're in love with being a Catholic, you're going to be offended because you're going to think that I'm talking negatively about the church. You're going to think I'm talking negatively about you, negative about your religion. Bitch, I didn't say anything about your religion. I said that your church is an organization. It's a political organization. It works in politics. It's a government. See what I'm saying? But people will get offended. And if I say that certain practices that come from Africa in the New World got super colonized and has affected the way people practice it in a negative way, all you have to do is look at the history. You just have to look at the history. So people can get mad at me for saying what I say, but it doesn't change the fact that what I said was true. Do I have references to any good mediums? The kind of... Let me explain to you something. The kind of medium I am and the kind of mediums that I run with, we don't just channel spirits of the dead because somebody asks for them to be channeled. Like, if I did a reading for you, if your mother wanted to speak or wanted to come through in some kind of way, she would. But we don't force possession. We don't force spirits into possession. So, if you've... So when you say you want to talk to your mother, I don't understand what that means. You mean you want someone to be possessed by the spirit of your dead mother? To talk? Is that exactly what you mean? And my question is, she's your mother. So why aren't you talking to her? Why do you need someone in between you and your mother, a middleman, a third person? Do you not feel like you communicate with her already? That's what I'm trying to understand. You'd like to try and connect with her. She doesn't send you messages in a way I can understand them. How do you mean? Okay. So then she is communicating with you. Emotionally, she gives you feelings. You feel a certain kind of way, right? So she is communicating with you. Okay, so we have to break this down, what you're saying to me. Sorry, guys, I've got a runny nose today. I guess you really need to examine your motivation as to like why you feel the need to talk to her. Oh, in my life? So when we're talking about the dead, we're talking about like a collective energy. Sometimes a single spirit will show up to give messages on behalf of the group. Because what you have to understand is whenever you conjure a spirit or call a spirit of the dead or call any kind of spirit, you don't just get one spirit. You never get one spirit. You're going to get that spirit and all the spirits that walk with that spirit. So you're never just getting one spirit. You don't sit down and do divination and call on your mother and only your mother shows up. So usually in Spiritism, what happens is there's usually one spirit, strong in spirit, an ancestor spirit that will show up in possession, that will speak on behalf of all the ancestors or speak on behalf of the collective. Does that make sense? And it's a natural inclination to want to seek out the dead to be able to get advice. But here's something that you need to remember. Just because spirits of the dead have an opinion about what you should or shouldn't do doesn't mean that you have to do it. Like trying to get answers from your dead grandma or your dead grandfather or your dead mother, trying to get them to answer questions to your deepest life problems, they won't do that. What I have found as a witch for over 20 years, as a medium, and especially over the past 6 years since I've gotten really, really heavy into voodoo and spiritism, the spirit world is not going to tell you how to live your life. They're not. They're not going to answer your questions. They're not going to give you that. You have questions about their lives. Oh, yeah, you're looking for a really deep, intimate connection between you and deceased family members. And God, I do not know any medium. I don't know any medium that would be able to do that for you. And I have never opened myself up wide enough to channel that kind of information. I mean, I would recommend myself. I trust myself. I believe in myself. If you're looking for a medium that's going to try to communicate with your dead, you're not I'm pretty much like just as good as anybody else that you would find. Just thinking about opening. You're giving me the opportunity to examine myself, and I'm like, can I open myself up that wide to be able to pull in that much spiritual information, that much memory? Yeah, Malia. Thank you, Crystal. I mean, oh, wow. Wow. That's crazy. Wow. Wow. Really? Wow. That's crazy shit, yo. You need a movie. You need your own Lifetime original series. This sounds like a Netflix original movie for real. It's wild. I mean, the things you're saying are absolutely insane. I mean, I say insane like in a good way. Like, that's really dramatic stuff. But you know, to be human means having a story. That's what it means to be a human being. What it means to be a human being is to have a personal story. That's a beautiful thing about being human beings. We all have our own stories, our own personal stories. And that story is a good one. Man, you know what? If I did that for you, I wouldn't charge you. It would be something that I do because I really don't know whether or not I have a feeling. I've got this weird feeling. I've got this really weird feeling inside. I feel like I could do it. There's something inside of me that says, you can do that. There's something inside in the back of my head. There's a voice in the back of my head that says, you can do that. You can do that. But then my own personal ego, you know, that is, I'm extremely cautious and I don't want to, it scares me. That's what it is. You literally scare me with that. Like, that concept is really scary, that I would have the ability to open myself up that much to be able to see what your mother wants me to see, to relay it to you. I'll try. I'll try to do mediumship. I would try to do mediumship for you. Will not charge you for it. You've got to send me a message on TikTok so we could schedule a time and do that. Oh, I'd have to prepare for that, though. I'd have to do a lot of spiritual work. Yeah, Lisa, I know. I know what she's asking for. I know what she's asking for, and I know that that's a lot. I will find you. What's your username? On TikTok? I have to do like a real deep spiritual cleanse on my home. I would have to do all kinds of things. There's protections I would have to put up. I would have to call on my Loa. My people won't say no. Matter of fact, I have 100% faith and trust that my people would probably be able to facilitate it. If you would have asked me to facilitate this kind of mediumship a decade ago, I would have said absolutely not. You are talking to the wrong person. Hold on a second. That is how you got in last time. Hold on. Hold on, people. No, it's Yellow Jackets. I think I've got, there's like a hive. There's like a hive. Scooby. Okay, Scoobs. And I knew that you were medium rare, Rose. I figured you were medium rare. So yeah. Well, one was in my kitchen. I'm gonna close my other window too. There was one that was in my kitchen. And I smashed him. And I didn't want to. It's a beautiful day. But I'm gonna close my window now. Come on. Sorry, guys. It's getting ready to rain. I can hear it. I get to look out my back window and see the pool. I get a bird's eye view of the pool. That would scare the hell out of me. Usually I would put in a jar or the buzzing noises. I don't want to mess with them. Interesting. As in, yeah, but I live in a condo complex and I have no idea where that would be at. I have no idea where that is. I have no idea where it's coming from. That's really weird. So, Scoobs, what I would recommend that you do is you do a meditation. You need to do a meditation. If you can't find your deck, that could be your spiritual team telling you that you need to like meditate. That's cool, Lisa. Okay, Jackie. So I already told you what you need to do, okay? I'll see you tomorrow night if you come to live mentorship. Can I explain why? Okay. Well, people don't understand what grounding means because what grounding is has been misinterpreted for decades now. So, grounding is something that you do after coming out of an altered state of consciousness. I go on an ayahuasca journey. I have to ground when I come back. I go on a psilocybin journey. As I'm coming back, I have to ground. Grounding is about being in contact with reality. But you only have to do grounding if you go into altered states of consciousness. People have, over the past New Age, this is the problem with the New Age movement. Why did you have to bring this up, Malia? The New Age movement, okay, that has become so popular and influenced so much of culture and so much of spirituality. Most concepts circulating around witch talk and TikTok come from New Age spiritual beliefs. Like that everything is intention. That to practice witchcraft, all you need is intention. That it doesn't matter what moon phase you're on, doesn't matter what correspondences you're using, astrology doesn't matter, what you use doesn't matter, that all you have to do is have an intention, and whatever the fuck you do, whatever you throw together is supposed to work. That's New Age spirituality. That is not traditional witchcraft. That shit is New Age. And grounding, when people say, okay, it's time for us to ground in what? You have to be out of this world to come back and ground. You have to go into a state of an altered spiritual state. And when you're coming back out of that altered spiritual state, then you ground yourself. And the best way to ground yourself is by eating food. You eat food, grounds you. You got to put food in your mouth. Ways that you can ground yourself are by laying flat on the ground on your back, or getting on your hands and your knees and putting your hands on the earth, or taking off your shoes and walking outside and feeling the grass under your feet, or anything that brings you back to the present moment, back to this reality, back to this plane. But the best way to do it is to sit down and eat something. That's grounding. But like if you're just like, there's no reason to ground unless you're coming out of an altered state. That's my personal opinion from a traditional perspective. But people usually use the word grounding when what they really mean is centering. When they say you need to ground yourself, what they're trying to say is you need to center yourself. You need to bring yourself back to the center of your circle. Your awareness needs to come back to the center, which is you. So most people just are not educated enough or have a vocabulary broad enough to be able to explain the spiritual concepts that they want to use. How many times have you guys heard me say, bring yourself back to your center? Come back into balance. Balance yourself. Balance your energies. Be mindful of how you feel right now. Those are all ways of centering yourself. Grounding is, digging your heels into the earth. Let's talk about witchcraft. So, intergalactic planetary. Okay. Man, witchcraft is a shit show. Witchcraft is such a shit show. Okay, you want me to talk about it? I can chat around for a little while longer. I've got a little while. I've got a minute. Wait, yeah, I've got a hot minute. I don't think I have to. When is this fucking meeting? Is it at 6 or is it at 7? My back is still out, so I can hardly walk. Hold on. Intergalactic. Okay, 7 p.m. Okay. 7 p.m. I have to deal with this shit. Okay. So let's talk about witchcraft. People get so mad when I talk about this kind of stuff. Okay, so most of what people most of the witchcraft that you read in books are people regurgitating the same information in different ways over and over and over and over and over again. If you've read 2 books on Wicca, you have basically learned how most people practice witchcraft, because it's the same shit in every single fucking book. It's the same shit in every single book. How to center, how to ground, how to protect yourself, how to cast a circle, how to call the quarters, how to call the ancestor spirits, how to do a magical working, how to perform divination, how to say, how to close your ceremony, release the quarters, release your circle. All books on witchcraft focus on that, the procedural aspects of ceremonial witchcraft. Wicca is ceremonial witchcraft. Alexandrian Wicca is ceremonial witchcraft. Witchcraft was never ceremonial. Witchcraft is about practicing magic and making things. Witchcraft has always been considered a negative thing. I know that there are, like, Birch, that don't want to acknowledge that throughout human history, for the most part, witches were not considered positive. People sought out witches because of their ability to make shit, concoctions, potions. And most witches are psychic, so they have the ability to foretell the future or communicate with the dead. Witchcraft, working with the spirits of nature and spirits of the dead. That's what it is. And the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was the beginning. A bunch of English or European magicians or people who are interested in the occult coming together and trying to create a system of occult knowledge based on historical references of Egypt. Witches were healers, but they were also assassins. A witch that can't heal can't kill, and a witch that can't kill can't heal. Witches were also assassins. If your husband was cheating on you, okay, there was a way to make his dick go impotent. If you had a husband that was beating you, or you had a husband that you wanted to knock off or get out of the way, the witch would have the herbalist knowledge to be able to help you eliminate that motherfucker. Okay? So witchcraft isn't all about healing. It's never been about healing. It's spiritual warfare. So whenever you hear about witches in classical literature, these are people that were channeling and speaking to spirits of the dead, and they are also people that were considered to be dangerous. Witches have always been dangerous. Real witches have always been dangerous to society because of their views and because of their power. And their power is in their knowledge. Look about how much they demonize me. Think about how much I'm demonized and how much opposition and resistance that I have faced in the magical world since I decided to get on TikTok. Think about how many people who have tried to cancel me and put and shut me up and close down my profiles and threatened me. Witches are dangerous. Real witches are dangerous because real witches threaten society with their views. Real witches don't conform to boxes. We don't conform to boxes. We don't do what we're told. We have an interest in things that are dangerous and even deadly. We're not afraid to experiment with it. We fuck with our lives and our destinies and the destinies of other people. Witches were meddlers. Witches have also been meddlers in other people's destinies. It's why the Abrahamic religions have told people to avoid witchcraft and mediums. You see what I'm saying? So witchcraft is simply a practice. It's something that you do. It's something you learn how to do. You learn how to make magic. You learn how to practice witchcraft. It's not paganism. It's not neo-paganism. Taking an image of Hecate and putting it on an altar and putting out a libation or saying prayers to pagan gods is not practicing witchcraft. That's not what it is. Only people that cast spells are witches. You have to be a spell caster to be a witch. And people don't like that. And the reason why they don't like that is because the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and Gerald Gardner and Aleister Crowley and all of these other Victorian era occultists decided that they were going to bring magic back. They got this big idea that they were going to bring magic back. They were going to bring occultism back to the mainstream consciousness. And so you've got Golden Dawn magicians, and you've got the Thelemites, and you've got the Wiccans, and then the offshoots of the Wiccans. But all of that stuff is still based in like occult European, it's the reconstruction of magical grimoires. Most witchcraft that people practice today, its origins lie in the reconstruction of magical grimoires by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Because Gerald Gardner was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, he was an associate of Crowley. Okay? Hey, Summer. Yeah, here I am. So, Witchcraft is a really, really complex topic, but most of the witchcraft that's taught in books is all regurgitations of these concepts, ideas, and the spirituality that was concocted in Victorian times that has somehow outlived its shelf life. It's like a Twinkie. Why is Wicca popular? Wicca is popular because it says that you are your own priest. You are your own priestess. It honors the Great Spirit, God. It honors the polarity of nature in the god and the goddess, yin and yang, construction and deconstruction, or creative and destructive forces. And that's kind of like basic to every single religion, period. Like every religion has that. And Wicca is also popular because it allows somebody to be able to write their own liturgy, pick and choose which gods and goddesses or spiritual forces that they want to call on, and it gives them a ceremonial structure in which to do that safely, okay? Wicca is a very powerful spiritual practice, but Wicca is ceremonial magic. Wicca is ceremonial magic. It's not witchcraft. And that's why Gerald Gardner called it Wicca and Wiccan. But Gerald Gardner's views, if you read his book, what's it called? I have it over there. Gerald Gardner was a very well-traveled man. He was definitely someone who had a lot of knowledge about like indigenous cultures. Aleister Crowley himself also had he had a knowledge and interest in indigenous cultures. And one of the fucked up things about the whole Crowley thing is that he incorporated and brought in aspects of voodoo, some African religion stuff. He brought in aspects of Hinduism. He brought in aspects of like Tantra and other things. And what he did was he took his system of magic. He took the Golden Dawn systems of magic, and then he just decided that he was going to spruce it with all these other things. That's why the Thelema system doesn't work magically. I've never met a Thelemite or anyone practiced Thelema that could ever actually do anything. I know that was a really rude thing to say. One thing that Scott Cunningham did, Scott Cunningham took Wicca out of the hands of gatekeepers like Gardnerian Wiccans, and he wrote his books, Living Wicca, Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner, Earth, Air, Fire, Water, Earth Power, Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. He just wrote all of these books about Wicca and was very controversial. He was very, very controversial. If Crowley was alive and you ask him if he practiced chaos magic, he'd probably say no. So according to him, no. Not like Osman Spare. Not like the founder of chaos magic. Magie. Chaos magie. So Aleister Crowley's Thelema hinted at the concept of chaos, but it's not based on working with chaos. But it did inspire chaos magicians and chaos magic. So chaos magic is really an extension of birthed out of all of that. Chaos magic is like postmodern magic. That's what it is, postmodernism. It's postmodern magic. Summer, you know, everything that you just said. The first book I ever picked up on witchcraft was Earth Power by Scott Cunningham. Because at the time, it was the most benign looking book on witchcraft that I saw sitting on a shelf with UFOs, werewolves, and the Satanic Bible. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, if you went to Barnes & Noble, if you were looking for books on witchcraft, there would be one shelf in the back of the store, and one line of books would be UFOs, the other one would be supernatural and haunted houses, and then one would be about occult and witchcraft, and you had everything from like, you know, Crowley and the Satanic Bible to like Starhawk, Spiral Dance, or Scott Cunningham. Spiral Dance by Starhawk was like one of the second or third books that I read. Did I answer your question, Lisa? I don't even remember what your question was. Oh, you're talking about chaos magic. Great book if you want to practice chaos magic is, what's it called? Advanced Magic for Beginners by Alan Chapman. Advanced Magic for Beginners by Alan Chapman is a great book about chaos magic. I just had a brainstorm. I just had an idea. Advanced Magic for Beginners. Great book. Covers all of the basic chaos magic techniques, how to use them, and if you understand the basics of the techniques, then you'll be able to create your own system. I'm all about creating your own system of magic. I'm all about creating your own system of magic. Because sometimes innovation is needed for the continuation of any given spiritual tradition. So to be honest with, if you really want to get down to it, really want to get down to it, you can consider me a chaos magician. Well, what do you practice, Lisa Rose? Like, how do you would you consider yourself a witch? I guess you could consider me a chaos witch. Innovation, absolutely, we innovation. We need innovation. But see, this is why I can't complain. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for this one? Are you ready for this? Why can I not complain? Because when the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn came together, and those European magicians got together and decided we're going to do things this way because this is what makes sense to us, and we're going to create a magical fraternity, and this is a system of magic and how we're going to practice it. They were innovating. That was innovation of the time. And when all of those practitioners of Ifa and Orisha came together and started codifying the system of Lukumi, using the spirituality from Allan Kardec, using the saint images, using Catholicism, and using all the other tools that they had to create a system of magic and a system of spirituality, they did that. That was innovation. It was through the spirit of innovation that we have Santeria. It was through the spirit of innovation that we had the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. They were the best things that people could think of at the time in order to continue on the tradition. You can't be mad about it. It just is what it is. It is what it was. It was what it was. It is what it is. It is what it was. It was what it is. So like every single generation is going to produce a new idea. At some point in time, there is going to be a new religion that is born that is going to be innovative and is going to push past the boundaries of Asheshe and Lukumi. There are already people who are doing it. I run with these people. I literally run with these people. And when you're innovative, you run the risk of making everybody mad. You run the risk of making everybody mad because everybody feels things should be done a certain way. And if one person stands up against 5,000 and says, you know what, I'm sorry, but I don't think things have to be done this way. I think there's another way to do it. You will get attacked and you will get crucified, upside down, and burned at the stake. Ah, you work with the Pauline arts. The Goetia of Dr. Rudd. Well, what's up, Soul Sister? You're interested in the same things I'm interested in, Lisa Rose. So can I revolutionize your spirituality real quick, Lisa Rose? Because I can because if you're into the Pauline arts, I can totally rock your motherfucking world right now. You want me to rock your world? Because I'm all about rocking people's worlds. So if you work the Pauline arts and you work with angels and demons, okay? You're using you're an astrologer, okay? You're practicing your witchcraft and you're working your magic within the context of astrology. I do too. That's what I'm trying to teach people in my spiritual mentorship program. In my spiritual mentorship program, I don't think I'm doing a good job of it, but I'm trying to. These people here in the room with you are in my spiritual mentorship program. Doing workings in harmony with celestial forces. That's what it is. Doing magic within the harmony of, the moon, the signs, the nakshatras, the lunar mansions, correspondences, magical correspondences, astrological forces, all of that. Are you using tropical astrology to do your celestial magic? Right, you don't have to be an astrologer to practice astrological magic at all. You don't have to be an astrologer to practice astrological magic. I'm just asking, when you do your calculations to do a working, are you using tropical astrology, Western astrology, for your calculations? Thanks, Crystal. Do you know who Dr. Stephen Skinner is? I'm just assuming that you know who that is. Stephen Skinner? He's written a lot of books on high magic and also on ceremonial magic. Anyway, Lisa, the point of this whole conversation is that you need to change your calculations. You need to change your calculations to go off the galactic center. You need to change your zodiac. You need to change your how you calculate. Okay, so if you practice the Pauline arts or you work with any kind of ceremonial magic at all, calling angels and demons, that's astrology. It's astrological magic. Solomonic magic is astrological magic. It works with and manipulates celestial forces. Change your astrological calculations to galactic center calculations and start practicing. Oh, really? Right. So what I'm saying is that start using the galactic center in your magical equations, and your magic will go from 20 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour really fucking fast. Because what I have found is doing astrological calculations based on the galactic center is really truly what pulls in the most powerful magic. That's an occult, that I'm giving that to you for free. I charge people for that advice. But what I'm telling you is that use the galactic center, okay? Because our Earth revolves around the sun, and our sun revolves around the supermassive black hole that sits at the center of our galaxy. So the center of the galactic center is the supermassive black hole, the womb of God. That is the womb. The galactic center is God's womb. That's what it is in the most physical way possible. The womb of God is that supermassive black hole that sits at the center of our galaxy, which all things revolve around, okay? And so the ancients knew where that black hole was. They knew where it was. In Vedic astrology, it's called Mula. Mula, behind Sagittarius A. Mula. So Mula in Sanskrit means root. So out of all of the nakshatras, there is Mula. And Mula pointed the ancients to where the galactic center is. And a lot of people believe that in the ancient times, that Mula was the first nakshatra. Because all ancient calendars were lunar first. They were not solar. They were lunar-based calendars. And Mula, being where the womb of God actually sits in our universe, was considered to be the first nakshatra. It changed. Like I said, over time, spirituality changes and it degrades. It gets worse. It doesn't get better. Do you understand? So all of my astrological calculations are based off the galactic center. So when I run someone's birth chart and I calculate somebody's birth chart for them, and I do birth charts, if you want me to do your birth chart for you, I do birth charts. Those calculations are based off of the galactic center of Mula, the root. You understand? So in a very practical way, if you're not looking in the right direction, it's difficult to be able to pull the energy that you want. As an example, technology is making this easier to do. The modern day technology is making magic easier for people that actually practice these deep, existential, core philosophical, magical practices. As an example, you can download Skyview. Skyview is an app for your phone. All you have to do is open Skyview and hold it and go like this, and you will very easily find out where in the universe right now all of the planets are. So if you're going to do a planetary invocation to Venus, instead of just facing east, or southeast, because a lot of ceremonial magic in the past, ceremonial magic in the past, when you were practicing magic, put you at the center of the universe, and then all of the ceremonial actions that you perform within your circle means you are standing as the source of creation and you are commanding. And so the whole layout of a ceremonial magician's working is putting you at the center of the universe and puts you in command of the universe. Do you understand? Absolutely. I would never be able to do this if I didn't have programs to do the math for me. When you say, are you talking about relationships? Hold on a second. Let me finish what I was saying. So the point is that, if you want to invoke the energies of Venus, or you want to salute the planet Venus, or you want to say a mantra to the planet Venus, or you want to connect with that energy, you can do it facing where the planet actually is in the heavens, because all you have to do is pull out Skyview, find out where Venus is, and then do your ceremony directed in the direction of the planet. You understand? So we have tools now that allow us to not only use our mind, but gives us very specific, points you in a particular way. Like if you have an app on your phone that can show you exactly where in the sky Venus is right now, why would you not use it? Why would you continue to use a magical system that always puts Venus in the southeast quarter of your circle? Does that make sense? So when we're talking about the womb of creation, and we're talking about the womb of God, we're talking about that galactic center. The universe is God's body, right? The universe is God's body, and God's consciousness extends throughout that entire body. And I'm talking about this, I'm speaking about these things in very concrete, real terms. I'm not speaking in existential terms. I'm talking about like very, very practical, scientific. You can gauge these things with instruments and measurements. You can make witchcraft is science. Witchcraft is an art and a science, okay? You learn how to practice witchcraft. You study, you become a witch through knowledge, and you become an astrologer through understanding how the universe functions and how it works. So I practice Vedic astrology, and Jyotish, which is what I practice, is very, very, very specific. And we don't do, we don't do all that stuff. It's different. How much do you know about Vedic astrology? Vedic astrology can tell you a lot about like your soul partner based on where Venus and Jupiter are. So Venus and Jupiter are the significators for someone's, let's say, ideal partner or their soul partner, okay? Venus is always representative of the female person. Jupiter is always a representative of the male person in someone's birth chart. When I run somebody's birth chart, That is basically going to tell you what your soul planet is, okay? Because you have a soul planet. It's going to tell you what your Atma Karaka is. Do you know what the Atma Karaka is, the soul planet? Your soul planet, your Atma Karaka, is the planet that holds the highest degree in the heavens at the moment of your birth. That is your soul planet. It is the planet that rules your chart. So in order to find out what your Atma Karaka is, you need to go to your birth chart and you need to find out which planet holds the highest degree in the heavens at the moment of your birth, in what sign and what house. That matters. But if you're calculating it off of Western astrology, it don't mean shit. It needs to be calculated off the galactic center for it to matter. Because the galactic center is the golden mean. So if you calculate your birth chart off the galactic center, you will come up with a soul planet. Your soul planet being the one that is the highest in the heavens at the moment of your birth. That planet is going to tell you a lot about your life. It's going to tell you about the problems that are going to keep coming up over and over and over again in your life. It's going to tell you something about your nature. It's going to tell you something about the kind of energy that you carry. That's what the Atma Karaka does. And Jyotish is a tradition of astrology that's been practiced for 20,000 years. Did you reread it? Good. Let me tell you, astrological language, tarot cards, Ifa oracles, all of this stuff is very difficult to process. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of information to process. You're getting a lot of information consulting tarot, oracle, cowrie shells, opwele, running your birth chart. All of these things are just, it can be overwhelming. Your soul planet is Saturn. Is that based on the galactic center? Or did I do your birth chart for you? So I guess what I'm trying to say, the point of what I'm trying to say is that beliefs matter. Being flexible enough to change your beliefs when you find information that presents itself that is more relevant or more scientifically or historically accurate or makes more sense or is in harmony with nature. Being able to adjust your beliefs to harmonize with reality is important. And all of these tools that we use to examine ourselves and examine the universe are tools. They're just tools. Does that make sense? And that is a lesson that will keep coming back over and over and over again. It's a lesson that will keep coming back over and over and over again. But here's the thing about the spiritual world. The spiritual world is a landscape. The spiritual world is a landscape. And the spiritual world isn't divided like what human beings divide things. As an example, if I asked you to open up a map of the United States right now, you would open up a map and you would look at it and you would see all the different states. You'd see New York, California, Idaho, you got Florida over here, you got Texas over here, right? So you are trained to look at you're trained to look at the land that we call the United States in fractured parts. Texas doesn't exist, it's a concept. States are a man-made constructed concepts. You're good. This is what I do. This is why I go live, to drop some mad wisdom. And so when you're looking at a map of the United States, you're trained from childhood to see this huge land, this great, huge, large piece of land, not as this huge land that we all share, but as in these tiny little bits, these chopped up bits. And we say, oh, well, people from Texas act like this, and people from California act like this, and people from Massachusetts act like that. And yeah, that's true. And we create that. Culturally, we create that. Oh, you're from Massachusetts, and all you Massachusetts people behave like that. Oh, you people from California, all you crazy Californians, you behave like that. And so what we do is we learn at a very early age to start compartmentalizing both ourselves and what we come into contact with in this reality, in this interface. We learn to put these things in boxes. Boxes and categories are very, very useful for being able to keep things in order. That's it. It's the only thing boxes are good for. And labels is for being able to sort things in your mind, being able to kind of like say, okay, well, this is that and that's that. That came first, that came second. That person comes from the geographical region that we call California, and that person comes from the geographical region we call Florida. But in our culture and our society, we have made it way more nuanced than that. And everything has to be labeled. It's true. It's true. But the reality or the truth of the matter is that everything that's going on is going on in this reality, and this is where it's happening. This is where it's happening. We live in a responsive universe. Listen to me. We live in a responsive universe. We live in a universe that reacts to us, that will manifest for you what it is that you want and what you need. So if you understand that and you realize that your thoughts, words, and actions manifest your reality, okay? They're going to manifest whatever reality you're trying to create. We live in a universe that actively interacts with us, responds to us. And all of the language that we use and all of the icons that we use to represent those ideas or concepts and all of the tools that we use are also active in creating those realities for us within reason. But here's something that blows my mind. You ready for this? This is something that blows my mind. There is never any new technology. There is no new technology. Any technology that will ever exist has always existed, because it's always existed in potentiality. Any technology that science figures out how to use, they're just discovering something. Scientists learn and discover things about how things work. They don't create anything. Scientists don't create anything. They make discoveries. And based on their discoveries about how the universe works, they are able to replicate things or facilitate things. But that means all the technology that mankind, womankind, humankind, Homo sapiens will ever come up with, whatever technology we think we can come up with, that technology already exists. It has to exist already in order for it to be discovered. So I was on my Google news feed. Oh, excuse me. There was an article that came through about being able to digitize your consciousness and immortality. Like literally the only way, the fastest way that anyone's going to find immortality in this reality is by understanding how to digitize consciousness. We are very, very, very far off from being able to create immortality in the physical body. But being able to digitize your consciousness and transfer your consciousness into, let's say, artificial intelligence, that is the fastest way that we're going to achieve immortality. And then you ask yourself the question, well, if you can digitize your consciousness and you can put yourself into artificial intelligence, are you can merge your consciousness with artificial intelligence. What would be the point of having a physical body anymore? You know, they can already store data in physical living cells. They've been able to do that for over a decade. They can actually use living cells as storage for data. Did you know that? She said life is a cycle for a reason. God damn, Summer. Why'd you have to slap me down like that? Time space. Time space is another one of our problems. I just recently released a book. It's called I've Got Another Fucking Thing I Want to Say. Philip Ryan Deal. It's on Kindle only, although I will be releasing a paperback and hard copy of that book. It's 100 pages long. It's a small treatise on the way I see life. And it talks about 5 basic principles of reality that cannot be denied. It talks about the basic principles of existence that absolutely cannot be denied. It's undeniable, the things that are said in that book about the nature of reality. It's basically a book that summarizes what I really believe. That's really what that book is about. I released it a couple of weeks after I released Brujo Ryan's book on medicinal and magical herbs. The universe is always responding back to you. That's what I'm trying to say, because let's just be honest. I want to be really honest with you, okay? I don't know whether my dead grandmother is the person that's really giving me any kind of message. I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. I can't be 100% sure about it. I know that there is something that responds to me on the other side when I do particular invocations, I do petitions, or I do some kind of appeasement, or I call on a particular kind of energy. I know that I get a response from it, but what it is, I have no idea. As an example, I have my Oshun shrine that was made for me, from my Oshun. I have no idea. She is, whatever it is that she is beyond my comprehension. Whatever she is way beyond my ability to comprehend it. You know, we personify Oshun. We make her a mixed woman, you know, this very voluptuous and holding a mirror and surrounded by sunflowers and peacock feathers and peacocks. And we talk about Oshun being the mother. We talk about her being the spirit of love and joy, the spirit of abundance. But what is that really? What does that really mean? So sometimes I just ask myself, when I'm calling on these forces and energies, is the universe just playing back with me? Am I a spirit embodied pretending to be a human being, and the universe is just there to pretend back and give me what it is that I ask for? It's a very interesting question. Hey, what's happening, Divine? I believe in Oshun. Let me be more specific. I believe in my Oshun. The Oshun that walks with me, I believe in her. I do. I do believe in her. But whatever it is that she is, I have no idea. And it's pretty much impossible for me to understand it. So that's why they're called mysteries. She's a mystery to me. But I'm not so vain and arrogant as to sit here and tell you that I know what the hell's going on in the universe, because I have no idea. That's why I think it's funny or silly. I think it's funny or silly I think religious language is metaphor. It's poetry. Religious language is metaphor. It's poetic. It's a story. It paints a picture in your mind. So when Jesus said the kingdom of God is in you, and when Jesus was talking about God's kingdom, Jesus was talking about creation. Jesus was talking about reality. Jesus was talking about this interface with the world. Yet for some reason, those people took the word kingdom and determined that that must be a government. Hey, Regina. You made it. You see what I'm saying? So and people are just not spiritually evolved enough to be able to understand the language. People who are not spiritually enlightened should not be reading the Bible. The biggest mistake that was ever made, one of the biggest mistakes in human history, was printing out copies of the Bible and handing them to people that were uneducated. Biggest mistake in human history. One of the biggest mistakes. The printing press. We got this great piece of technology and it was used for the wrong reason. We decided it was a good idea to start printing off copies of the Bible and handing it to people who had absolutely no idea what they were reading. Horrible idea. And we're getting ready to go through that again with AI technology. AI technology is going to rock this place. Ooh, is it going to create a big problem here? And you know what's funny? What's funny is that there's all these AI generated art now. Like everywhere there's AI art, everywhere. Just some random Joe Schmo, nobody, sitting at home using, you know, a manual to use Midjourney, coming up with all of these really, really awesome, fantastic images. But what's hysterical is the amount of garbage that's coming out of these apps. Like if you're on Twitter or you're on Tumblr and you're following this stuff, or Pinterest and you're following AI art, you realize very, very quick that, you know, as soon as we had the ability to create an image of another person, there were people drawing pictures of people having sex. As soon as Homo sapiens were cognitively enhanced enough to be able to start drawing pictures in caves or creating art, you've got images of men with genitalia that is like stupid, like as big as an arm, right? And it's the same thing. It hasn't changed. It literally hasn't changed. It's the same mentality. Now we have AI art to draw big dicked people instead of pencils or chalk or a paintbrush. I think it's funny because it just shows you that we don't change. We don't change. Homo sapiens really have not fallen very far from the tree. And one of the biggest problems we have right now is that we have technology that's smarter than the people walking around using it. Most people walking around in this country are walking around with an iPhone in their hand. Or a smartphone. Hey, Melanie. I'm just talking shit. So, the trick is to not get all wrapped up in it and let it bother you. That's the trick. The trick is to just acknowledge that everything just is the way it is. People just are the way they are, and nobody's changing quickly, so just leave it alone. Don't be mad about it. Don't be upset about it. Ooh, my back. I'm going to be getting off here soon, guys, because I've got to do a call. I have to be I have to be on a Zoom call tonight to be able to maintain my license to practice acupuncture. I have to do this meeting tonight. In order to maintain my license, I have to show up at this meeting. So we don't say crowned, Melanie. We don't use the word crowned in a Sheshe. We use the word fully initiated, okay? Because being crowned is a Santeria thing and it means something very specific. But yes, you could say I'm crowned, but that's not the language that we use. I feel phenomenal. I feel great. I feel fucking fantastic. I feel better than I ever have. I feel super empowered, super happy. It's not continuing education. It's New Hampshire requires site visits, and there is a licensing board that you have to apply after you go through your training, yada, yada, yada. And New Hampshire requires that I show up to certain meetings with supervisors, supervised meetings. It only happens a couple of times a year. But I literally am going to show up looking like this, sipping my cup of coffee, sitting in the chair just like this, because I can't be bothered. Let me tell you something, Melanie, let's just talk about initiation for a second. Initiation only does one thing, okay? Initiation is an act of ceremony that is meant to draw you closer to and create a deeper bond between you and whatever it is you're initiating into. Initiation just brings you closer to that which you want to feel connected to. And in these spiritualities, getting initiated into the mysteries of your Orisha, or getting crowned, or whatever it is, just creates a deeper bond between you and your spirits. So initiation is a beautiful thing because it creates a deeper bond between a person and that which they're trying to commune with. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a beautiful feeling. You know, it also is a license. It's also a license, okay? It says, I went through the initiation. Now I have the right to speak. Because it's like getting initiated is like getting your driver's license. Or it's like getting your VIP pass, getting your backstage pass, or being able to get into the club. You know, you become a member of these traditions through initiation. And you get your rank through initiation. Okay, just like Freemasonry. Just like the degrees in Freemasonry. There are levels to this thing. So going through the process, going through the stages of spiritual growth, going through the initiations, the primary initiations, the major initiations, the priesthood initiations. It's a spiritual journey. It's an evolutionary journey. And being able to be fully initiated definitely changed me. Text me later. I am not the same person I was before I went to Africa. I am a different person. I'm the same but different. Why? Because I had experiences that some other people don't have. That's why initiates really should only be talking to initiates about this kind of stuff, because you go through things in your initiation process. And everything you go through means something. And it's difficult to talk about those things with people who have not been through that process. Does that make sense? Initiation is special. There are mysteries, there are secrets that are only revealed to initiates. So when you get crowned and you go through your full initiation into Orisha, you know, and you receive your consecrated items and you shave your head and you go home and you're ready to wear white for a year and you go about your life, you've got your taboos, you know the things you should do, shouldn't do, and you know you've got your system of divination to communicate with your Orishas. You have the license to speak and you have the license to practice. And it's a beautiful thing. Right, that's why nobody really has a goddamn thing to say to anybody in these traditions unless they go through it. Unless you actually go through what I've gone through, you don't have an opinion about what I've gone through. Unless you've been where I've been and seen what I've seen and was told what I was told and work with the stuff that I work with, you don't have an opinion about it. I'm sorry, it's outside of your experience to talk about these things. Excuse me. Well, Melanie, save up your money. Prepare yourself, you know, because if it is in your destiny to become an Olorisha and to be crowned, well, you're already an Olorisha. Anybody that is an owner of an Orisha is an Olorisha. If you have Orisha, you have warriors, you're an Olorisha. But regardless, when you become a priest, a priestess, you're going to sit back and you're going to be like, oh, wow, look at that. I did that. I did that. I said I was going to do it and I did it. And there's this great satisfaction that I feel inside. There's deep commitment, contentment. I am content. I have a deep feeling of contentment inside knowing that I said I was going to do something and I did it. When I got my Elekes in Santeria, I went down to the river and I promised Oshun that I would get my hand of Ifa. And I said to her, if it comes out in divination that you're my guardian Orisha, I will initiate into your mysteries. And I swore to Oshun more than one time that I would become one of her priests. And I did. I did. And when I was in Africa, in Oshogbo, when I was in the grove, when I had my face in the stuff and I was doing the things to receive my initiation, I said, Oshun, I did it. I told you I was going to become one of your priests and I'm doing it. I told you I was going to do it and I'm doing it. So that was an incredibly empowering thing. And she's right there. There's my Oshun is right there. She's covered up. That's my Ifa. That's my Oshun. So you're going to be great. I'm sure whatever initiation you go for, or however you get whatever it is you're trying to get, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. All right, you guys, I need to prepare myself. Beautiful. Orieo. All right, y'all. I'm going to go. I got to get ready for this meeting. Yes, that's true, Crystal. All right, you guys. You know I'll be live tomorrow night in my mentorship program, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in my private Discord. Starting in June, I'm going to be going live on Tuesday and Thursday nights in my private Discord. But I will talk to you guys later, okay? Bye.